The pyramids have stood for thousands of years, rising from the sands of Egypt as silent witnesses to the passage of time. These colossal monuments, built with astonishing precision and ambition, have fascinated explorers, historians, and dreamers for generations. But what if I told you that the greatest secret of the pyramids isn't hidden in their stones or their mysterious hieroglyphs, but in something far more intimate, something that connects us all? The real story is written in the DNA of the people who built them. For centuries, the world has gazed at the faces painted on tomb walls and the statues of pharaohs, imagining the ancient Egyptians as a single, unified people, enigmatic, powerful, and somehow set apart from the rest of humanity. Their art, their language, and their monumental architecture seemed to spring from a civilization that was both unique and isolated, shrouded in mystery and legend. But as archaeologists have dug deeper, both literally and figuratively, they've uncovered clues that suggest a much more complex story. In recent years, a new kind of archaeology has emerged, one that doesn't just rely on pottery shards or crumbling papyrus, but on the microscopic code inside our cells. When scientists finally managed to extract and sequence DNA from real Egyptian mummies, they opened a genetic time capsule. What they found would challenge everything we thought we knew about the people of the Nile. The breakthrough came in 2017, when a team of international researchers focused their attention on a site called Abusa el Melek, a town that had been inhabited for thousands of years, spanning the time of the pharaohs, the Greeks, and the Romans. Here, in the dry Egyptian climate, dozens of mummies had been preserved, each one a potential key to the past. Over the course of their study, the scientists painstakingly extracted genetic material from the bones and teeth of 90 mummies, some dating back more than 3,500 years. This was no easy feat. Ancient DNA is fragile, easily contaminated, and often degraded by time. But with new techniques and careful lab work, they managed to piece together the genetic profiles of these long-dead Egyptians. The results were nothing short of astonishing. While you might expect ancient Egyptians to be most closely related to other African populations, the DNA told a different story. Yes, there were clear ties to Africa, but the genetic signatures also pointed north and east, far beyond the borders of the Nile Valley. The ancient Egyptians shared significant genetic links with people from the Near East, including regions that are now part of modern-day Israel, Lebanon, and Syria. Even more surprising, their DNA showed connections to Anatolia, what we now call Turkey, and to southern Europe, including Greece and the Mediterranean islands. This means that the people who built the pyramids and ruled the Nile were not isolated at all. Instead, they were part of a vast network of migrations, trade, and cultural exchange that spanned continents. Imagine ancient Egypt not as a closed-off kingdom, but as a vibrant crossroads, a place where traders, travelers, and settlers from all over the ancient world mingled and mixed. The bustling markets of Thebes and Memphis would have echoed with dozens of languages, and the streets would have been filled with people of every shade and background. Egypt was a true melting pot, shaped by waves of newcomers and the constant flow of ideas, goods, and genes. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. When scientists compared the DNA of these ancient mummies to that of modern Egyptians, they found a surprising difference. Today's Egyptians actually have more sub-Saharan African ancestry than their ancient ancestors did. Over the centuries, the genetic makeup of Egypt has shifted, reflecting new migrations, invasions, and the ever-changing tides of history. How did this happen? The answer lies in the long and complex history of Egypt itself. After the time of the pharaohs, Egypt was conquered and settled by a succession of foreign powers: the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Arabs, and the Ottomans. Each wave of newcomers brought their own customs, languages, and of course their genes. At the same time, Egypt's position as a gateway between Africa, Asia, and Europe meant that people were always on the move, crossing deserts and seas in search of opportunity, adventure, or refuge. Over the centuries, these migrations and interactions blended together, creating the rich tapestry of modern Egyptian identity. The faces you see on the streets of Cairo today are the living legacy of thousands of years of mixing and mingling, a testament to the power of movement and connection. Of course, these revelations have sparked intense debate among historians, archaeologists, and even the general public. Some people have questioned the methods used to extract and analyze ancient DNA, while others have argued about what these findings mean for our understanding of Egyptian history and identity. The truth is, science is always evolving, and every new discovery raises as many questions as it answers. But that's exactly what makes history so fascinating. It's not a fixed story carved in stone. It's a living, breathing puzzle, constantly being reassembled as we uncover new evidence and rethink old assumptions. The DNA bombshell from Abu el-Malek is just one piece of a much larger picture, reminding us that the past is always more complicated and more interesting than we imagine. As we look back across the millennia, it's clear that Egypt's story is one of change and adaptation. From the earliest farmers who settled along the Nile, to the mighty pharaohs who built empires, to the modern nation that stands today, Egypt has always been shaped by the people who called it home, and by those who arrived from distant lands. The artifacts and ruins that fill museums and textbooks are not just relics of a vanished world. They are clues to a dynamic, ever-changing society where new ideas and new people were constantly arriving, blending, and transforming what it meant to be Egyptian. So, the next time you find yourself staring up at the pyramids or tracing the lines of a hieroglyph, remember, these are not just monuments to a lost civilization. They are living proof that history is full of surprises, and that the story of humanity is one of endless movement, mixing, and change. The DNA hidden in ancient bones reminds us that our ancestors were travelers, traders, and explorers, people who crossed borders, forged connections, and built new worlds out of old ones. The story of Egypt is the story of all of us, a story of curiosity, resilience, and the endless search for belonging. If you're fascinated by the wild twists and turns of history, and you want to hear more stories that challenge what you thought you knew, don't forget to hit subscribe. There's a whole world of secrets waiting to be uncovered, and together we'll keep digging deeper into the mysteries of the past.